Holy cow, folks, I just walked in to what has to be one of the largest indoor flea markets I have ever seen. But this is no ordinary indoor flea market. This is Frankenson. And what's special about this place is every single vendor here is only allowed to sell if they sell collectibles. So my mission today, I want to find a few video game vendors, ask them what it's like to sell at a place like this, which by the way, is an old converted Sam's Club. I'm gonna see if I can find some video game people and see what I stumble upon along the way, and maybe even spend some money. Thanks to Shopify for sponsoring. All right, folks, looks like we have found the first video game booth here. I love just like how homey this is, but I'm seeing a ton of PS3, we got PS1. Again, every square inch is really well utilized. We've got, let's see, oh, this is one that we just cannot keep in stock, Minecraft. Okay, 45 on that. I think we only pay like 14. This one, let's see up here. Okay, also 45 there. Must be a hot seller for them. Oh, check that out, folks. We've got one of the old chunky iPod Nanos in there. I haven't seen one of those in a while. And then look what I spied right up here. Tech decks. Wow, if that doesn't bring you back. I also spied, this is another one that we buy for I think 13. Okay, not seeing a price on that. Pretty solid Wii section here though. I am curious like how many people come to Frankenson specifically for video games. All right, so folks, I just met the owner of this booth, Crystal, who has actually been in Frankenson for, you said, 9 years?
Yep, at the old one for about 4 years and here now, or excuse me, the old location 5 years, this one 4 years now.
So I'm super curious, like the model of being a Frankenson vendor. Could you walk me through a little bit like
Absolutely.
Your booth and give me a little tour?
Sure, all of us have like at least like a unique little style. Mine's vending different types of retro games, retro toys, anything that's basically anything you had when you were a child. I'm trying to bring back that nostalgia of your childhood. That's why I kind of set it up the way it looks like a bedroom almost.
Yeah.
We have cassettes, we have DVDs, VHSs, a little bit of everything here.
So of all the different kinds of items that you stock, what would you say is like your best sellers?
I would have to say my VHSs. I have a little bit of horror, a little bit of cartoons, everything from like Goosebumps to Casper to like even WrestleMania. Anything you remember watching on a Saturday morning, I basically have.
Yeah, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, DVDs here even.
Yep.
So one thing I'm curious about is how do you get your inventory? Does a lot of it come to you here at this booth?
Somewhat, but I also hunt for it all the time. I'm always looking for different places. I like to joke and say I own the stuff of dead people that's haunted. I go to estate sales, I go to different places. I'm always hunting for different things.
So you're putting in the work on the back end to keep this place stocked. What kind of, like if someone brings you stuff, like whether it's VHS or CDs, video games, what kind of margins are you normally looking to get?
I usually give them about 50%, 60%. I'm always very fair with it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to try to lowball anybody because I understand how it feels, and all my prices are very reasonable because why should you pay a lot for your childhood?
Totally. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like when other people ask you, hey, should I like get into being a vendor at a flea market like this, what do you say?
I say you have to wake up early every single day. I'm up at 4:30 every day. I'm asleep at 10 o'clock just to do it all over again. You gotta put the legwork in. It's not gonna always be perfect. It's gonna be hard. And
what does it take to sell? Like, is there like because it looks like almost all of the vendor slots are occupied. Is there like a wait list? Is it a process to try to get approved to sell here?
It would be a little bit of a process. You would have to talk to the owners here, but it is kind of a process.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to take another spin around the booth, see if there's anything I can pull the trigger on. Did you have any N64 games in here?
I have some right here. These two little towers.
Awesome. Yeah, these have been selling really good for us.
And then I have some inside of the case on that side.
Okay.
I have Zelda, and then I have the Mario Kart 64 and 007.
Okay, perfect. And what price did you have on the Kart 64?
40.
40 bucks? Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that at least. Okay. And I'll see if there's anything else that I can pull as well. Thank you.
For sure, no worries.
So one other thing I'm curious about, like when people approach you and are asking for discounts, like how do you determine who to give one to?
I don't mind, I just give the discounts because I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Unless I feel like they're trying to Skype me and be like a retailer, but if it's like a family and kids, I'm always willing to do a discount all the time.
Does it make a difference like how much they're buying from you?
Absolutely not. It's always like, hey, it's all about the customer at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're pricing stuff, you're kind of building in a little bit of like expecting to give people a discount too.
Absolutely.
That's excellent. I love finding little Game Boy bins like this because one Game Boy game we're always looking to stock up on is Tetris. It's one of those super fast sellers, but not like super high dollar, and also really easy, compact to get back in a suitcase on a flight. All right, so shout out again to Crystal for the hookup on the game. Really appreciate that. She actually also has given us a lead on another video game booth that we're gonna go find and check out right now. All right, so folks, this is my new friend Roger from the Gameosaurus booth. Roger, how long have you been here at Frank & Son?
I've been at this location for 4 years, but I've been with Frank's for a total of about 8 years.
Okay.
8 years, because I used to be at the old location as well.
Right, so you were at the old location, you moved here. What is it that you love? What is the best and worst part about being a vendor in a location like this?
Well, I think for me the best thing is all the new inventory that comes in, all the new merchandise, seeing all the OG stuff, not wanting to sometimes sell it or part with it is I would say it's one of the worst things and bad thing.
Okay.
Because you get things that come in and you're like, I maybe want to keep it for myself.
Right.
But then you're like, you know, you want to rotate the inventory, as I always say in, you know, in the community.
What are some of the coolest items that you have in stock right now that you would want to show off?
A couple of them actually. Got this Pokemon Soul Silver. This bad boy is complete in box with the Pokewalker, everything's there. And then for anybody that knows me or knows my love of video gaming, Castlevania. These are actually some of the ones that I didn't want to put out, to be honest. Because I'm a big fan. I love Castlevania so much that I even got tattoos of it.
Oh, let's see them.
So we got Simon Belmont here, Richter, and Alucard.
Oh my god!
A buddy of mine that did the work for me, he did them all in 8-bit, as you can tell.
That's incredible. So these are some of those items that come in and you're like, I don't know if I want to sell them.
Yeah, I'll be honest, sometimes I don't. I just, I think about it, but then I'm all like, you know what? I'd rather have somebody else have fun with them.
Yeah.
You know, so that's just how I am.
When people come to you and ask, hey, I've got all these games, I'm thinking about going into, you know, try to start reselling, start flipping, maybe become a vendor, what do you tell them? What's your advice?
I always tell people, first thing beforehand is when you get into a business like this, go in it with an open mind. You know, it can be hard, especially since the business has changed a lot. Video games to me now, it's kind of like a stock market. They go up and down, some of the games.
Yeah.
And I speak from personal experience because I had a customer that actually came and called me out on one of the pricing on one of the games that I had. So that I think is what affects a lot when you're doing this kind of business is pricing.
Yeah.
But also go in it and have fun. You know, there's gonna be good days, there's gonna be bad days, but just at the end of the day, just remember that you're here to have fun and have an open mind.
I love it. So what is your general pricing strategy when something comes in? Do you try to be like at market, a little above, a little below?
As far as buying or selling, or both?
Well, I guess both.
Okay. So for me, when anybody tries to sell me anything, I usually do about 50% of what the market is. For example, if something's trending like about $80 or $100, I'll offer 50% of it.
Yeah.
And then I will sell it for what it's going for, because obviously I got to make back that money, and then of course make a little bit of profit.
Sure.
But I always tell everybody, I always tell them, look around if you don't like the price that I offer you, and I actually recommend a couple people to them as well.
Okay.
I tell them where to go, so if they can get $5 or $10 back in their pocket, I'd rather have them do that.
Interesting. So you're willing to refer business away if they might be able to get a better deal somewhere else.
Yeah, just because I know some people, they don't, I feel like in this, a lot of people don't really want to get rid of their stuff. They don't want to part with it. A lot of people that sell their stuff, they want to sell it because they need money.
Yeah.
Times are tough. So, you know, if I offer them $50 and I'm like, well, this is what I'm offering you. I'm also strapped for cash sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be honest, I don't even need the inventory. I just take it in to help them out and I put it aside. But then I'll be like, you know what? I know this vendor over here might need the merchandise more than me. Let me send them to you, and you can get more money.
Wow. So you're a bro vendor for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I love to hear it. Is this booth right here like your full-time gig?
Yes, full-time gig.
Okay.
I mainly focus and do all this all the time, to be perfectly honest.
How do you get your inventory? Do people bring all of it here?
Yeah, they bring it here. They hit me up through Instagram as well.
Okay.
I usually actually used to go out there to the swap meets, to the estate sales, all that stuff. I used to go hunting as well.
Yeah.
But with my reputation and people knowing how I do business, now they just bring it to me or they hit me up.
Okay, that's the perks of being in the business for 8+ years,
yes,
right?
Yes, definitely.
Well, hey, I'm going to take a look around, see if there's anything that I might be interested in making a deal on. I appreciate it a ton.
Definitely, appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me out.
Definitely, for sure. Thank you.
So I was taking a look at this Smash Bros over here. Super clean copy, by the way. But then I spied this. What's the story behind this guy?
So this bad boy right here, I don't know if you've heard of these. These are actually kits that you buy. So it's called a, if I'm not mistaken, I may get the wording wrong, but I believe it's called a Game Boy Advance hingeless. So it's
hingeless.
Yeah, something. I think that's what it's called.
That makes sense. I mean, this thing is super sleek with the metallic casing and everything.
Right. It actually has a USB-C charging on there.
Whoa.
And then he also did the earphone jack. So pretty much what it is, it's both best of both worlds, and you have a solution for that. Yeah, SP hingeless.
And there it is. That's super cool. So what are you charging on something like this?
So I'm doing a consignment. We have it at 350.
Gotcha.
350. The interesting about all this, it's all metal. It's like super heavy. I don't know if you thought that. And when he was designing it, well, I guess the way this works, you pick everything out that you want, like the parts and all that.
Yeah.
They send it to you, but you have to build it yourself.
It feels super premium.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Ooh, and in the background here, I'm spying a couple. Do you know on these Pokemon games, what's the battery situation? Is the batteries good? Yeah, they all replace them. Okay. Yeah, so all the batteries have been replaced on there. That's the only way I saw my Pokemon games, to be honest. Yeah. For me, no matter what Pokemon game I get in, the battery has to be replaced. Yeah. Just because I don't want somebody coming back to me and telling me, hey, the battery died, you know? Matter of principle. What did you have on the yellows here? So on the yellows, got two different options here for you. I have this one. If you don't really mind the label on this one I can go ahead and go 50 bucks for you on this one. Okay. But if you want one with a nicer label, I can do that one for 60. 60? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Which one? On the nicer one. The nicer one? Okay. Appreciate that. Definitely. And I'll keep looking over here at the disc section too. Definitely. And folks, this is a really good sign in any booth as well. Nice and crowded. Lots of people interested in the inventory and Frank & Sons in general. I mean, it's been open for a couple of hours on this Wednesday afternoon, and the crowds have honestly been really consistent. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going a little bit easier on the purchasing today because in just a couple days I'm heading to SoCal Gaming Expo, and I know I'm going to want to spend a bunch of money there, so I'm trying to be good today, but some of these games, it's just a little bit hard to resist. All right, folks, so came to a nice deal on this Pokemon Yellow version. There were a few games in there at first that I checked and the prices weren't going to work for my margins, but then I saw this one and it was actually a lot closer, and turns out he was pretty negotiable. So if there's any big takeaway from that, it's that you shouldn't assume if a few games are pretty outside of your price range that there's no deals to be done in a whole place. If you find one that's close and they end up being negotiable, especially if you're buying a lot, oftentimes there are definitely deals to be done. So I guess the lesson is just be persistent and especially be kind, because that's going to make people much more likely to want to give you the deals. This next booth, actually, Roger referred me to. It's a guy named Kevin who has not just a ton of video games, but also plushes and statues. So I'm really curious to hear about his business model and what's working best for him of those three categories. But before we get to the next vendor, I wanted to give a big thanks to Shopify for sponsoring this video. Shopify is a commerce platform that makes starting and growing a business easier for all kinds of entrepreneurs. Some of the vendors that I met at this flea market were even using Shopify because it makes it super easy to integrate online and in-person sales. Whether you've got a flea market booth like the ones I've been visiting, or a physical video game store, or an online shop like ours, Shopify makes selling and tracking your inventory easier. It reduces the complexity and headaches of starting and managing your business, and their user interface is notorious for being incredibly easy and simple. I used Shopify last year to make wholesale inventory lots available for sale to our viewers, and the listing process was super intuitive. But Shopify isn't just for video game businesses. In fact, millions of people in 170 countries use Shopify to do business online and in person and even across borders. If you've got an idea for a business to start, you can bring it to life with Shopify. To get your free trial of Shopify, go to shopify.com/Phoenix Resale to get started today. And thanks a bunch to Shopify for sponsoring. All right, folks, well, this is my new friend Kevin here. Kevin, how long have you been in this vendor booth space?
So we've been in this new location for about 5 years now, Caitlin.
Okay, so you were at the old location too then?
Yes.
How long have you been at the like flipping game?
We've been here since 91, actually.
91 you've
Yes.
been doing this?
Yes.
Oh my
So
goodness.
this place started with my father. My father started in 91. He used to do baseball cards and video games, and then it swapped over to being just video games.
So this is almost a lifelong thing for you at this
Yes.
point. I'm super curious to ask about like the different kinds of products that you have here, but first, would you mind taking me inside? Because
Yes, of course.
this outside part actually isn't the entirety of the booth. What I love about it is we actually have to go through this like tunnel of collectibles to see the rest of this place.
Yeah, a lot of people call this Diagon Alley from Harry Potter.
Diagon Alley of collectibles. This is incredible.
Hey, welcome guys.
Oh, and it's
Okay.
packed in here. Wow. And you've got a pretty diverse set of inventory
Yes.
in here too. Like it's not just games like some of the other booths. You've got a lot of plushes, you've got a lot of figures. How do you decide what to stock?
So we, honestly, for video games, we decide to stock, we're very specialized. We try to only do games from 85 to about 2012. So
Okay.
that's going to include games from NES to about PS3, PSP, and a little bit of PS4 and Switch. The thing with Frankenstein's is, although we didn't want to originally stock Switch, it's kind of something all the video game stores have to have, since it's so in demand. A lot of our sales actually come from the accessories here. We have a lot of accessories ranging from controllers to a little bit more specialized solutions like HDMI adapters, things just to kind of make the process of playing retro games more modernized and easier. That way you won't need to get like a CRT TV.
Well, and talk to me about how the sales of video games stack up to like the plush side or the figure side.
Yeah, so about the plush side is about 30% of the sales. The majority of it is going to be the video games.
Okay.
Yeah, the plushies and the whole anime and toys things, like hobby goods, you know. That's fairly new. We started selling that about 5 years ago.
But it's more supplemental.
More supplemental, yeah, definitely.
Okay. And how are you getting most of this stuff? Obviously, like the newer product is, I imagine, from distributors.
Yes.
But a lot of the used stuff, does it come to you or do you have to go out and hunt for it?
Yes, so we kind of do old-fashioned hunting, things like OfferUp, garage sales, Mercari. We're always meeting up with people. I mean, even Craigslist. No one, very few people even go on Craigslist anymore.
Yeah.
But occasionally we'll get like 1 or 2 hits on there. We drive all the way from like Burbank to like San Bernardino, just hunting for items. Honestly, if I'm not here working at this location, I'm here the whole week prepping to be here.
So you're putting in the work
Yes.
after hours. This is not like just be here during open hours.
Yes.
It's a full week kind of obligation.
Pretty much, yes.
This is a career that is really easy to glamorize, right? People might look at you and say,
yes.
like, Kevin's got it made, right? He's dealing with really cool games all week. He's selling cool stuff, talking to cool people. But what's the reality of this business that people might not realize is less glamorous?
Yes, so less glamorous is pricing. A lot of times people think that, I mean, also we get a lot of our inventory here with customers. A lot of people think that being able to get something for our buyback amount is between 50 and 60%.
Yeah.
Although 50% doesn't seem like it's high, we, at Frankenstein's at least, we have to pay a daily rent. Between paying the rent and all the other overhead, 50%, let's say we get a $50 game for like $25 or $30.
Yeah.
The amount of rent we have to pay, in the end, we only really make about like $5 or $10 off an item like that.
Wow.
It's a little complex to like do the math. I actually don't even know if I can explain the math.
Yeah. So the margins are slimmer than people would expect.
Yeah, margins are pretty slim. Also the advent of ease of access to the internet, things like price charting, things that really help the consumer. It makes the industry a little tougher, and it's good. I'll be honest, it's very good for the consumer to have things like price charting or things like lists that auto-populate prices.
Yeah.
But knowing that now there's a lot of issues with the API and how people can manipulate the pricing on price charting, it does hurt us on the business side, because sometimes people will come in with an average price, let's say like a $45 game, that has historically never hit $45. But then there's like 3 recent sales that were hitting like 100, and it really changes up the pricing.
Well, and the average collector may come in, especially if they don't have a business background, and be like, man, 50%, like that seems really low if you're offering me 50% of market value, but what they don't realize is all the stuff you have to pay for.
Right.
Do you mind talking about how much the rent is in a space like this?
Yes, I can. I mean, I think I can anyways. So
you can ballpark if you want.
Yeah, so this here is about 3.5 booths, let's say 4.
Okay.
We pay on a daily, we pay about $90 per day, per booth.
Oh, wow. Because you're normally going to be open, what, 4 days a week?
3 days a week.
3 days a week, okay.
Yeah, so 3 days a week times 13 shows in the month times the daily rent. It's at least ballpark around $4,000 per month.
Dang.
Just to be here.
Just to be here, like you're paying $4,000 before selling anything.
Right. Yeah, the inventory process is pretty brutal. The margins are pretty slim, and we have to be very competitive with all the other vendors here as well.
What advice do you have for people who are just starting out flipping video games?
My advice is honestly, keep it online. I think starting out, getting a online reputation, let's say you go on eBay, grow your online store to have at least 2,500 positive feedback, maybe like 3 to 5 years of online experience. The way I started with my father and him starting in '91, that's like really old fashioned now.
Right.
So that's really not the way things work anymore. Everything's Instagram, everything's eBay, Mercari, offer up like feedback and stars, you know, rating.
He's been building his reputation literally as long as I've been on the planet.
Pretty much, yes. I mean, my father is right here. He, sorry, it is not a really glamorous case, but this is more of a storage case. Yeah, he passed away 3 years ago, but he.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, he basically started this empire in '91. So.
Yeah. Well, and now it lives on his legacy as you guys' business. That's a beautiful thing. Well, thank you so much for sharing, man. I'm going to take a look around, see if there's anything that maybe we can make a deal on. But boy, you've got something really special here.
Thanks so much, Caleb.
Yeah. All right, folks. Ended up coming to a deal on these 3 beautiful Nintendo titles here, making us 3 for 3 on booth deals for the day. If you want to see a more in-depth exploration of the reality of being a video game vendor, basically a documentary on a single vendor, my friend Tim, check out this video right here. I think you will absolutely love it. He's a great guy, and I will catch you guys on the flip.